Hey, good morning everyone. So for today's video we have 6 more tips for BJJ beginners. Um, so starting off, number 1, show up early to drill and to warm up. So a big mistake that a lot of people make is they kind of show up and then they either hang out for a few minutes before, chit-chatting with their friends, which is awesome, or they show up right on time for class. Um, you will get a lot of benefit from showing up early and getting either a warm-up in before class or in doing some drills. We talked about in our last video how drilling is so important to improving. So if you drill an extra 15 or 20 minutes a class because you show up early and work with somebody, you're really going to get almost 2 classes worth of benefit out of that. So highly encourage you to show up early or stick around afterwards if you can't because of work or whatever. Get there early and drill some techniques a little bit extra. Huge advantages. Another tip, hygiene. Now, I'm not going to talk about the basics too much, like make sure you shower after every class. When you go to a competition, if you're able to shower because they have showers there, make sure you do that. Don't go home and drive an hour covered in funk and filth before you shower. And the other super obvious one, make sure you wash your gis, including your belt. Don't listen to that old nonsense. Don't wash your belt, you'll forget everything. That's not true. All you'll do is get some staph or ringworm or something else funky. So make sure you wash all that stuff. But 2 things a lot of people don't think about is cutting your nails and shaving. Now, shaving in and of itself, not a big deal. Cutting your nails might seem obvious, but when you do these things can be really important. If you shave or cut your nails right before you go to class, then when you shave, you put little micro tears in your skin, and those can open up for infection, even if you don't see them. And when you cut your nails right before class, right when you cut your nails are pretty sharp, and so it's easier to cut your partners if you do that. So what I do and what I recommend all my students do is when you go home, after practice, cut your nails and shave, and that way everything has time to heal up. Your nails have time to dull before class the next day. Number 3, having proper intensity throughout class. So one of the things that we see people do is mess up their intensity while they're training. And what I mean by that is either they don't want to get tired out too quickly, so they kind of pace themselves and hold back a lot when they're going over drills or hard technique, or especially when doing cardio. And we don't want to do that. All right, when we're doing something that requires and demands intensity, we want to get full intensity. And the reason why is if we hold back, we're not pushing ourselves as much as we could, and the more we push ourselves, the more we open up that gas tank and get used to that uncomfortable feeling. One of the big things with jiu-jitsu is being uncomfortable and being used to that. Okay, one of the things we say is being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And the hardest time to do that is when you're pushing yourself really hard during cardio. Make sure that you are 100%. When you're supposed to be working, you should be working. Now, the flip side of that, when it comes to intensity, is when live rolling, you want to be intense, but you want to make sure that you're still thinking and processing. All right, if you're just flopping around and being a wild man, sure, you're working real hard, but you're not going to be getting much out of it. All right, that's a time not just to work on your cardio, but to work on your setups and to try different things and make sure that you're able to set them up correctly and you're able to implement them. And if you're not able to implement a technique that you're learning, then that means you need to go back and drill some things or figure out what's working and what's stopping it from working. So when you're supposed to be doing cardio, go full out. Don't hold back. When you're supposed to be going live, make sure you're staying active and aggressive and you're trying things, but also make sure that you're thinking about what's going on and you're processing and rolling to learn. Number 4, keeping it simple. All right, so when you're first starting off, that's not the time to do a bunch of funky stuff. That's not the time to focus on one position or try to learn every technique from every position. When you're first starting off, it's going to be so overwhelming. There's so much coming at you. Try to focus on just 1 or 2 submissions and 1 or 2 sweeps or passes from every position. If you do that, then you're going to get kind of those foundations, those basics down, and you're actually going to improve on them. Instead of trying to learn everything, and then you're just going to forget it all within a couple weeks. All right, so try to focus on one or two things from each position, and that's going to be your best bet at improving and at least having a couple tools no matter where you're at. A good way to do that, as we talked about in our last video, is to keep a journal. All right, so make sure you're doing that. Not to throw back too much to video number 1 there. Number 5, be thankful for your jiu-jitsu family that's there. All right, so a lot of us have our jiu-jitsu friends and family as our closest friends and family. All right, so don't forget to appreciate them. All right, and taking the time to better themselves, but also to better you. All right, no one improves much if we don't have other teammates to push us and teach us and work with us. So if you are getting frustrated because someone's beating you all the time, or you get into a really good intense role and you come up short, don't get upset, don't get mad. All right, thank your partner for pushing you and making you better. Thank them for showing you what you need to improve on. And keep in mind that they didn't beat you, they helped expose some of your weaknesses so that you can work on them and improve so that you can grow. All right, if you're beating everybody in the room, you're probably not improving very much. All right, so be thankful for the people who are helping you and working with you. And then last but not least, translate your jiu-jitsu to life. All right, a lot of us are there for an hour, 2 hours, a few times a week training, and we learn so many lessons there. Translate those to life. All right, be comfortable being uncomfortable in life. Push yourself. Go into those zones that you don't feel 100% prepared for, and you're gonna come out just fine, and you're gonna come out better, and you're gonna survive and be fine. All right, one of the biggest things that we have to overcome in jiu-jitsu is getting used to getting your butt kicked and then realizing that, hey, I'm okay. All right, it's not that bad. I got through it, and with the right mindset, I got through it a much better person, and I'm vastly improved for it. Take that same approach to life. All right, appreciate what you have. Appreciate who's around you, who's helping you out. Pay attention to the gains that you're making, the progress that you're making, and don't shy away from discomfort. All right, if something's making you uncomfortable and that you're kind of anxious or nervous about it, that's a good sign. That means you're probably going to come out better if you just attack that head on. All right, hopefully you guys liked that video. Make sure to check out our other videos. We have our first part, BJJ tips for beginners, and then we also did a match review of one of my jiu-jitsu students and kind of broke down what went well and what didn't. So make sure you check those out, and I'll talk to you guys later.